freaking first cut. Golly. Welcome to the First Cut Podcast. I'm Rick Gehman, and this is your round one recap for this week's BMW Championship. Joining me to break it all down, Kyle Porter is here. KP, hello to you.
Hello, Rick. We were just talking about our games off camera. We might as well talk about other people's games on camera now.
That's what we get paid to do. We did have a couple of hours of rain delay this morning. Over 2, I don't know the exact number, but because of that, we've got some guys still out on the golf course. Everybody's played basically 9 holes. A lot of guys are done. Everybody went off number 1 tee. So got off to a little bit of a slow start this morning, KP, but lots of golf in the books already.
Yeah, and it was it felt like a long delay this morning because you're up, you're ready for it to rock and roll. There's only 50 guys. You're like, oh, knock it out. And then they just didn't start forever. I think it's disappointing on 2 fronts. You want to get it in, but also the course is just not playing like it normally does, right? And that's, when you have a championship venue like Olympia Fields, you want it to play like a championship venue, and it's just not right now.
2020, the round scoring average was 1.8 strokes over par. As of like 2 minutes ago.
Wait, let me guess. Right now, I haven't looked.
Okay.
Is it like 0.2 over?
It's really close. 0.02 over.
Oh, okay.
But it was just under par until like 2 minutes ago, and now is just barely over par, but still a lot easier. The thing is, KP, it's the receptive greens. We kind of heard Rory McIlroy talk about it after his round. We'll get to him in a second, but he said, hitting out of the rough here is not so bad when the greens are as receptive as they are. Kind of actually might help in some situations because there's not going to be a lot of spin on it. That's the big difference that we're seeing from 2020 Olympia Fields to 2023 Olympia Fields.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I just saw I was watching Morikawa earlier, and he hit a ball, I think it was on 9 or 10 out of the sand, and you expect a ball hit from where he did with the trajectory that I had with the arc on it to kind of bounce off these greens, and it just it almost plugged. I mean, that was how wet it looked, and that's a bummer because there's no way to get the golf course to play like you want it to when you have that kind of condition.
Nope, not at all. But we still I didn't know where I was going.
Nope.
My brain malfunctioned in the middle of that sentence.
I could see it. Malfunction.
I didn't.
Nope.
Oh my gosh! Wow, and I couldn't think of a segue or a transition or anything out of it. I was stuck in a loop.
Yeah, that will be a drop for producer man. Josh. Nope.
Very early this morning, one of the first men out was Jordan Spieth. He shot a 2 under 68, which at the moment is tied for 6th. Then he got off to a hot start with 3 birdies through his first 5. He gave a couple of back before he made the turn. I think the most encouraging thing that we've seen out of Jordan Spieth, not only in this round 1, but going back to last week, KP, is how well he's been hitting it off the tee. Strokes gained off the tee here on Thursday. He's 2nd in the field as of right now, but he's been just running to the middle of the fairway. 10 out of 14 on round 1 here at Olympia Fields, which is a very good rate. And he did the same thing last week, hitting a bunch of fairways.
How many times around do you think Greller says, nope?
He's thinking it. It never comes out. I swear it is like 97% of the words said in that relationship are said.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I mean, look, I think we obviously sort of joke about Spieth's inability to get it in the fairway off the tee. He's been very Phil-like over the course of his career, not just from a wild off the tee perspective, but also tremendous iron player, and then the sort of magical short game. And I think one of my takeaways from today and from really last week is his iron play is just kind of disappointing right now. It's okay, but man, that was his bread and butter in 16, 17, 18 when he was really thriving, playing, he had his crazy year in 2015, but it was really the years after that where he was super consistent as a top 5 player in the world. And I haven't looked at his kind of overall numbers recently, but the last couple of years. So let's see here. This year it's like a half stroke. Last year was a half stroke. 2021 was 0.6. 2017 and 18 it was like 1.1, and kind of up in that range. 2015 was 0.75. So to me, it's the iron play that's just fallen off just a little bit. Right? Like a half stroke per round it's a big deal when you add it up over the course of a week. And I feel like all that to say, it's a bunch of words. He's not taking advantage of other parts of his game that are working well because he's just not giving himself enough scoring opportunities with his irons.
Yeah, indeed. And the difference between half stroke, which sounds so little over the course of a season, that is the difference of being Corey Connors, the 17th best player on tour, versus being Sepp Straka, the 54th best player on tour. That's a half a stroke around. Sounds like a little, it's a ton.
Yeah. And it just, I don't know. I mean, it's crazy to think that Spieth's driving it very well, and yet I don't really have confidence that he's going to go out and win a bunch of tournaments. Like if this had happened before, and you're like, oh, Spieth's hitting it good off the tee, you're like, cancel Christmas. He might win 5 in a row. And that's not where I'm at right now. So I hope he plays his way into the mix. It's always so fun when he does, but I'm a little bearish on kind of where he's at right now.
Maybe one of the more surprising results from that early wave was the 66 shot by Matt Fitzpatrick, which started out pretty slow, 1 over through 6, and then he got hot with birdies at 7, 9, 10, 11, 13, and 15. The surprising result, KP, is just because of the form that Fitzpatrick entered this week with. 49th at the Travelers, miscut at the Scottish Open, 41st at Royal Liverpool, 66th last week, and the metrics hadn't looked very good, but Fitzpatrick found a way to get it done here on Thursday.
He did. He's a weird one for me right now. He's such a great, hard, like difficult golf course player. Mm-hmm. I mean, you think about winning Brookline, he's always played great at Bay Hill. Like there's these golf courses that are very difficult that he plays very well at. And so from that perspective, it makes sense that he's shooting 66 today. But man, has he not been, do you think, actually, this is an interesting question. Who do you think is the most disappointing player of 2023? And is he in that conversation? He's got to be, right?
No, because he won. But like Patrick Cantlay, I think is the most disappointing player of 2023.
Really?
If you're a top 10 player in the world and you go a year without winning, okay, Colin Morikawa.
Okay, Spieth.
I mean, Fitzpatrick won, and I do give Fitzpatrick a little. Oh, Justin Thomas, I guess, is the real answer. But
yeah.
But I give Fitzpatrick a little bit of a pass because he started the year with a neck injury. He won, and now it's been weird recently, but at least he won. And there are guys who were completely healthy for the year that did not have good enough years. Justin Thomas, Colin Morikawa, Patrick Cantlay. Yeah, I mean, he's. I get where you're going, but I think there's other guys.
Yeah, the win was just it felt like the outlier to me, right? He's got 3 top 10s on the year. One was Tournament of Champions, January, second week in January. The other was obviously the RBC Heritage, and then he finished T9 at the Memorial. I guess he's got 4. He finished T10 at the Masters. So I don't know. My view on Fitzpatrick changed so much last year with how he improved off the tee, with how he played major championships. It's a little bit like the way my view of Hovland changed this year. I thought the baseline for Hovland was personal baseline for Hovland was higher than my personal baseline for Fitzpatrick was last year. But those guys, like Fitzpatrick was my guy last year, Hovland was my guy this year, that really shifted the way that I viewed them. And he's just regressed. And again, it's probably some injury stuff. Seems like there's a little confidence stuff in there, but all that to say, it's great to see him playing well because he's somebody that he's not been a great Ryder Cup player, and that's somebody that Europe needs. And I'm rooting for him to have a good Ryder Cup because I know it's a really meaningful spot for him.
The chat nominates Tony Finau, Xander Schauffele, Justin Thomas, Cam Young, Tommy Fleetwood for the most disappointing category. I think those are all reasonable.
I mean, the answer, you're right. It does have to be JT. I just didn't think of him off the top of my head because he's not playing.
Right.
But those were names that I thought. Finau won too, though, which is kind of weird, right?
Yes,
I think you can.
I looked at Finau's and I was like, oh, it might actually be Finau because he especially because at the end of last year he was piling up those wins and it was just like full steam ahead. But he did win Mexico, so it's kind of hard to put him in the same category as. I mean, Xander's been pretty disappointing.
Yeah, but he's played pretty consistently well, right? Like he doesn't. I guess I just remember that. I don't actually know.
Was it Saturday or Sunday that he was in the fairway bunker on one at LACC and he left it in there twice and my brain exploded because we were standing right there. And
that was Saturday. I think it was Saturday because I think he was playing with Rory, right?
That's correct. So that was Saturday. Yeah, because Rory was with because the final group on Sunday was, or Rory was with Ricky on Sunday, or
no,
Wyndham was Wyndham and Ricky.
Yeah, Rory was with Scheffler on Sunday.
Right, so it would have been Saturday.
Yeah,
that was the most disappointed I'd ever been of Xander, and that was in that moment.
Yeah, he finished T10 there. I mean, he's got a lot of top 10s, so he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8 top 10s this season. Wells Fargo, he was second. American Express, RBC Heritage. Well, one was the Hero, so whatever. Yeah, you could talk me into that. It's relative, right? Like when we talk about disappointment, it's like, man, Xander's record's a lot better than a bunch of other guys, but I don't expect a ton from a bunch of other guys, you know? And so I think it's the way that guys talk about, oh, it's a privilege to feel pressure. It's a privilege for us to say like, hey, you're having a disappointing year when you have all these top 10s, because that means the expectations are very high.
That is correct. Sahith Theegala, 66, 4 under, highlighted by a hole-out eagle on the 14th hole, which came from 167 yards out. He is, I guess, the bubble boy this week. He started the week in 31st, top 30, punching their ticket to Eastlake next week. As of right now, he is 12th. He was asked about that after his round, and he has essentially chalked this week up to be able to just kind of freewheel it. He's playing with house money. He thinks, hey, I just get to go out and play well. I'm currently on the outside looking in, watching, see what I can do.
Yeah, he was the bubble boy last year too, wasn't he?
Ooh.
I think he got in. You can maybe look this up on the FedEx or the FedEx Cup Wikipedia page. It shows ranking after each event. I think he got in really late into the Tour Championship. Yeah, I mean, great round from him. Obviously, I don't know what necessarily to make of. I don't know what his trajectory is. You know, I don't have a comp for him. Listen, like, I think one thing it's easy to make fun of like the net Tour Championship and like all whatever, but being in the top 30 in the FedEx Cup year over year, that's a big deal. You know, that's a really like meaningful thing. And there's a reason that some of the major championships give out exemptions to guys that finish or that make it to their Tour Championship, because it's very difficult to do. So for him to potentially do it 2 years in a row is super impressive. Do you have a comp for him? Like, is there anybody that you're like, oh yeah, that's kind of what I see Sahith being over the next 5 or 10 years?
No, because I think the guy that I think he is closest to, for me, they still have a lot of career left. So I always bucket him with Cam Davis. Just two incredibly raw, talented golfers who have shown us some unbelievable ability, but lack a lot of the consistency on a week-to-week basis. and they're going to pop up and they're going to have great finishes. And when they play their A game, it's phenomenal to watch. And I'm interested to see how they develop, but I don't have a guy who's 10 years later in his career than those two to say, this is what that could look like.
Yeah. God, he's only 25.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. Him and is Scheffler still 25 or is he 26 now?
Well, he just had a birthday, didn't he, with Tom Kim?
I think he's 26.
He's 27. He just turned 27.
Scheffler is?
According to Wikipedia, yeah. Not June 21st, 1996.
Okay. So Sahith has raised his strokes gain from last year was 0.4. Now this year it's right at 1, which is it's pretty impressive, right? Now, the majority of that has come with the putter. So I don't know that he's basically been exactly the same from tee to green. I'm curious about, I think he's going to win on the PGA Tour. I don't know if that's a couple of times or like 5 times, not to throw in another 5-time PGA Tour winner into the mix, but I think Sahith is awesome. I think he's super fun. I think he'd crush at a Ryder Cup. I'd love to see him on the U.S. Ryder Cup team at some point, or President's Cup even. I'm rooting for him to make it to the Tour Championship.
Do you know that Sahith has raised a trophy recently?
I did not know that. Did he win a humanitarian award or what?
It was golf related. He and Tom Hoagie won the QBE shootout last year.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't remember that one.
You don't remember that at all. Wow.
I was grinding on normal sport too during the QBE shootout. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That's embarrassing. All right. Well, we will continue this conversation. We'll get to the top of the board and we'll look at the odds for the rest of the BMW Championship. But first, we're going to take a quick break and hear a word from our partners.
For something. First play of the game to the last play of the game. 1, 2, 3. And we got 2 of the hottest conferences. This is big time college ball. They're going to come. We're going to come. 2 big boys getting ready to play. Big, the operative word here. And here they come.
And we're back. 2 men at the top of the leaderboard in with a pair of 65s. We'll start with Rory McIlroy. It was bogey-free. It was highlighted by the 17th hole in which he not only threads the needle between a couple of trees in the left-hand rough and gets it to run through the back of the green. He then proceeds to chip that one in for birdie, but also, KP, it as of this moment, would move him to number 1 in the FedEx Cup standings, going for his record 4th FedEx Cup.
Yeah, I mean, the up and down on 17 was comical.
It was an up and in. It was I guess it was up and down from the left-hand rough, up and up.
Yeah, that's what I guess it was an up and I don't know what do you call that? I guess he went down and up, I guess. I don't know, but it was spectacular. He twirled it. Did you see this?
Insanity.
He twirled it as it fell, which is like a 7-second delay on the twirl, which is sweet. I was ruining not picking him in the one and done this week because
you have him available.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you were going to save him for next week and just have it be respectable.
I was just trying to make it respectable. I should have shot my shot though and taken him this week and then Brian Harman next week.
Okay, so I think that I've been sitting on Brian Harman and Wyndham Clark. Like, which one of you two dorks is going to be like top 5 when we get to East Lake?
I took Wyndham Clark at New Orleans with Bo Hostler. And they almost won.
Yeah, that was a good pick at the time.
And now I look like an idiot. It makes me feel better that you're probably going to potentially take Harman next week, especially he's shot 65 as well. So he's tied with Rory now. But Rory's round was super interesting because he only hit 3 fairways, but he hit 15 greens. It felt a little bit like the opposite of what everybody kind of gets on him for, which is like, oh, you hit it 320 down the middle and you don't hit any greens, which is not actually true. It's just sometimes what it seems like, because a lot of his shots are shown on TV and they're not all perfect, just as nobody on the PGA Tour's shots are all perfect. But I'm curious about whether you feel like it was a outlier or it was the round where you're like, oh, he just kind of won the tournament on that round.
Ooh, interesting. I don't think he just won the tournament, but I think that, listen, Rory played this. I think he was on my betting card this week. I bet him in real life. I think he made my betting card for the show, where I thought this was so much like Oak Hill. I thought that, when it gets wet, that helps Rory. I think this was just Rory being Rory. I don't think anything of it. Yeah, there he is. 6.5 to 1. I got him at 8. Okay.
It just felt like he got away with some stuff today that if you look back on Sunday, you're like, oh, that's kind of why he won the tournament. I guess is sort of what I'm saying.
Yeah. 17 is the perfect example. He missed hitting the trunk of a tree by 2 inches. It rolled through the bunker short of the green, which is like impossible to do. And then he chipped it in. He could have made double there. He makes birdie. So that was definitely quite fortunate.
Yeah, it was. I think, we're talking about Xander earlier, and Xander's got a bunch of top 10s this year. But have you at any point this year thought, oh, Xander, maybe at Wells Fargo, but have you thought like, oh, Xander's going to win this tournament?
No, never.
No. And I think there's such a difference in like the way that Rory is top 10ing right now and the way Xander is, because I think Rory's top 10ing in a way that he's going to, and this is what he does. This is like his whole career. He just like gets up there, gets in it, and you run into 25 wins or whatever it is. 20, what's he at? 24. And I don't mean that of like you run into them in terms of you got lucky, but if you give yourself that many shots, like real shots at big events, some of them are going to break your way and some of them are not. He just plays at such a level that I don't know that he gets really even the credit for playing at the level that he has played at. And we've talked about that a bunch with like the wake of the Tiger era and all that stuff. But I think this is another example of like, he lost by 1 last week. Oh, he opened with 65 this week to lead again. He just is like, his floor is insane. It's just so ridiculous. And today was another example of it.
Antonio in the chat thinks Rory will melt down on Sunday like always, except for that Sunday 3 starts ago. But otherwise, always melting down for Rory McIlroy. He is.
You have to have massive leads to have 24 wins if you always melt down on Sundays. So apparently he's led after 54 holes by 10, like 24 times.
I must have had a fever dream when he went birdie on 17 and 18 to win the Scottish Open 3 starts ago. That must have just slipped my mind there for a while. Sure.
Didn't he shoot like 65 last weekend on Sunday?
Nah, do not let facts come into the conversation here. A 65 for Brian Harman, our Open, what is it? Champion golfer of the year? Champion
golfer of the year. Yeah.
Champion golfer of the year, Brian Harman, which I actually thought his performance last week was a lot better than it showed. So he was T31, but he lost 2.5 strokes to the field on Thursday, his very first round since probably drinking, as they said, 40 Guinnesses out of the claret jug. And then
is that what it was?
I think Brendan Todd or one of the other Sea Island guys had that quote about it. So
that's great. Good for him.
So after that, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, he gains half a stroke, 1.7, 0.6. Like he was right back on track, and it continues here. It was Brian Harman continuing to play well.
Yeah, it's good. I think about this from more of a Ryder Cup perspective, just because, he's somebody that the U.S. needs to kind of need him to be playing well going into Rome. There's a bunch of other guys that are, maybe not playing like you thought they were going to. And, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Brian Harman in kind of a post major champion world, because he's not at the age where you're like, oh, he could be demonstrably better from now on. But there's a confidence that comes with that I'm interested to see if that maybe changes his trajectory slightly, after winning the Open. So I don't know. It was a good round, but we'll see how it plays out.
We're going to look at the odds board in just a second, but I do want to give just a quick update on the notables who are still out on the golf course. Collin Morikawa is 3 under through 15. Jon Rahm, 3 under through 13. Scottie Scheffler, 3 under through 13. And Victor Hovland, 2 under through 13. So there is a chance, depending on a run that these guys get in their last couple of holes, that they'll be 4, maybe 5 under. So it's shaping up to be a strong leaderboard as we'll head into Friday here eventually.
Yeah, it is. By the way, did you see my boy Hideki?
What'd he do?
He was like 4 under through 8, and he shot even.
Oh, you know what? I did see that. So it was weird because I played 18 holes during the in the delay this morning. I played an entire 18 holes because it took me 2 hours and 15 minutes to play 18. That's how long the delay was. It lined up perfectly. And then basically by the time I got home and showered, I did look and I saw Hideki was like scorching earth. And I was like, oh boy, here we go. I didn't actually see that he dropped down to a shot of 71.
He shot like 40 on the back or something.
It was only a 38, but it felt like a 40.
It felt like a 48.
All right, Josh, do we have those odds or what are we doing? They're changing quickly. All right, we got them. So, Rory McIlroy, 2.5 to 1. Scottie Scheffler, 5. Rahm, 7. Then you can get Victor Hovland at 13. Brian Harman and Patrick Cantlay at 14 each. Collin Morikawa at 16. Cam Young at 16. Cam Young, I didn't mention. He is currently 3 under. He is done. He just finished up 67.
I feel like Scheffler is 5 to 1 or shorter until Sunday with like 3 holes left because the odds makers do what we do, which is say, oh, surely he can, surely he'll make a few putts.
Surely he can't be this bad.
Yeah, these are live, so this will change even in the next hour. It'll change in the next 10 minutes probably. I haven't seen Hovland today. Okay, he's 2 under through 13. Hovland, it was kind of my guy coming into the week. I like him live right now as we speak, 2 under through 13. At 13 to 1.
Yeah, and he missed a shorty somewhere. I think it was for bogey. It might have been on 10. So there's still some juice to squeeze out of that. I will say at this moment, Scottie Scheffler with his prototype putter is gaining 3/4 of a stroke on the putting surfaces. It's 18th in the field. Now that's a counting stat, so it's probably even better than that because he still has holes to play. So Scottie, who did not ditch the flat stick after the horrendous round he had last week, is paying dividends right now.
Yeah, it is. I've got a stat for you in my newsletter tomorrow.
Ooh.
What percentage of Scottie's last 45 tournaments do you think he's finished in the top 5?
Okay.
So last
45 tournaments. So that goes back probably a year and a half.
It's two, close to 2. Yeah.
Has he finished top 5 or better? All right. Well, I know he had 19 top 12s in a row, so I got to figure out how many of those were top 5s. I think a lot of them were. So I know he's got the 6 wins, right? I'm imagining are all in there. And then he's probably got, 5 or 6 more seconds and throw in a couple more thirds. So 12, 14. So I will say a third of them, 15 out of 45.
It's actually over 50%.
No.
Yeah.
Stop. So hold on. Say that again.
It was
over 50% of his last 45 finishes, he has finished inside the top 5.
I want to say 52%.
Dare I say Tiger-esque?
Yeah. It might actually, I take that back. It might have dropped to right at 50% because I configured it after Memphis. So yeah, it's 52%. This year alone, Phoenix Players, PGA, US Open, Memorial, Charles Schwab, Scottish, Match Play, Travelers, Arnold Palmer, Worldwide Technology, and Byron Nelson were all top 5s.
Yikes.
And then last year, Masters, Arnold Palmer, Match Play, Phoenix, US Open, Colonial, Houston Open, Tour Championship, BMW, Worldwide Technologies, and that's it.
Oh, that's it. Just it. Wow.
It's crazy, dude. It is crazy.
That makes me feel that gives me the warm and fuzzies.
It's truly extraordinary. Like and I think people like I keep beating the drum. I keep yelling about it. People get sick of it. Oh, do you like what is Scottie paying you? It's like, dude, this is
Scottie paying you.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't even know how that would work. This is like like insane stuff. Like he's playing at a level that it's Tiger-like. I mean, I keep saying it, but it truly is.
So sick. Wow. All right. Well, what did you schedule that email already? What time did you get?
Like 8 a.m. tomorrow.
All right. And if people want to get in right now, where can they get in? Where can
they just normalsport.com/newsletter.
There you go. Beautiful.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. That'll do it. This round will be completed, and then we will be back after Friday, Saturday, Sunday to determine who's going to Eastlake. Big thanks to producer Josh, does all the hard work behind the scenes. Corey Connors just rolled in a birdie. We needed that. Kyle Porter is available on Twitter at Kyle Porter CBS. You can find me at Rick Run Good. This has been The First Cut. We'll catch you next time.